In 1998, Nokia was the most valuable company in all of Europe. It controlled over 40% of the entire global mobile phone market. Its phones were in the pockets of over 1 billion people worldwide. But by 2013, just 15 years later, Nokia sold its entire phone business to Microsoft for just $7.2 billion, a company that was once worth $250 billion. Gone. So what happened? How does the world's most dominant phone company, a company that literally invented the modern smartphone concept, collapse so completely, so fast? The answer is one of the most important business lessons you will ever learn, and it starts not in Silicon Valley, but in a small town in Finland. Nokia was founded in 1865 in Finland, not as a tech company, but as a paper mill. Over the next century, it evolved into rubber manufacturing, then cables, then electronics. But in the 1990s, something extraordinary happened. The world went mobile, and Nokia was ready. Nokia launched phone after phone that the world loved. The Nokia 3310, the 6600, the N series. These were not just phones, they were cultural icons. People did not just use Nokia, they were loyal to Nokia. By 2000, Nokia's market cap hit $250 billion. It single-handedly contributed over 4% of Finland's entire GDP. The company had 60,000 employees and was growing every single year. If you had invested $10,000 in Nokia stock in 1996, by 2000, you would have had over $100,000, a 10 times return in just 4 years. Nokia was not just winning, Nokia was untouchable. Or so everyone thought. January 9th, 2007, Steve Jobs walks onto a stage in San Francisco and says these words: "Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone." Nokia's executives watched, and they were not scared. Internal reports later revealed they actually laughed. They called the iPhone a toy, too expensive, no physical keyboard, it will never work. And here is the thing. In some ways, they were technically right. Nokia's engineers had actually built touchscreen prototypes years before the iPhone. They had the technology, they had the talent, they had the resources, but they had one fatal flaw. Their entire organization was built around hardware. Beautiful, durable, reliable hardware. And they simply could not imagine a world where software was the product. Apple did not sell you a phone. Apple sold you an experience, an ecosystem, a platform. The App Store launched in 2008, and suddenly your phone could do anything. Banking, music, games, maps, all in one place. Nokia's operating system, Symbian, was a nightmare to develop for. It was designed for button phones, not touchscreens. Developers chose Apple and Google's Android every single time. And while Nokia kept releasing better and better hardware, the world had stopped caring about hardware. The battlefield had shifted to software, and Nokia never showed up. By 2010, Nokia's market share had fallen from 40% to 28%. By 2012, it was under 5%. The stock had collapsed 90% from its peak. In 2013, Microsoft bought Nokia's phone division for $7.2 billion. 2 years later, Microsoft wrote off most of that investment as a loss. The Nokia phone brand was dead. 60,000 jobs, gone. $250 billion in value, destroyed. One of the greatest corporate collapses in modern history. So what can you and I take from Nokia's fall? 3 lessons that every entrepreneur needs to hear. Lesson 1. Success is the enemy of reinvention. Nokia was so good at what it did that it could not imagine doing something different. When your business is winning, it feels dangerous to change. But in fast-moving industries, not changing is the most dangerous thing you can do. Lesson 2. The market rewards customer experience, not technical superiority. Nokia's phones were technically brilliant, but Apple's phones were emotionally compelling. People do not buy the best product. They buy the product that makes them feel the best. Always design for the user experience first. Lesson 3. Know which game you are actually playing. Nokia thought it was in the hardware business. Apple knew it was in the software and ecosystem business. The moment the game changed, Nokia kept playing the old game. And you cannot win a new game with an old strategy. Nokia's story is not just about phones, it is about what happens when a company stops asking, what does our customer actually want? And starts asking, how do we protect what we already have? The companies that survive, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, they obsessively reinvent themselves. even when it is uncomfortable, even when it means competing with their own best products. The question for you is this: in your business, your career, your life, are you building for where the world is going, or protecting where you have already been? That is the Nokia lesson, and it cost $250 billion to learn it. Hopefully, it did not cost you anything at all. If you found this valuable, subscribe. We drop a new business story every week, and comment below. Which company do you think is about to make the same mistake as Nokia? I read every comment. See you in the next one.